The Companion Bible Appendices. This is a series on the appendices contained in the back of the Companion Bible. This is for those of you that may not have access to a Companion Bible, and for those of you that may like to listen to another viewpoint from a great theologian such as Dr. E.W. Bullinger. The references and notes to the text in the companion column and the appendices were compiled and written by E.W. Bullinger, translating and utilizing the Masorah. The Masorah, like foot and side notes to the text, are only found in the oldest and the best Hebrew manuscripts. See Appendix 30. Appendix 1. The structure of the books of the Old Testament according to the Hebrew canon. 1. The Law, or the Torah. The book of Genesis, the beginning, all produced by the word of God. Genesis 1, verse 3. Israel as a family. Genesis 15:1. The book of Exodus, history. Israel emerging from families and tribes to a nation called Hebrews, according to their tongue. The book of Leviticus, worship. Yahweh in the midst. He, Israel's God, and they, his people. The book of Numbers, history. Israel now a nation, numbered and blessed, as such, 23 and 24. The book of Deuteronomy, the end, all depending on the word of Yahweh. Israel regarded as the land. Part 2. The prophets, or Nebiim. The book of Joshua. The Lord of all the earth giving possession of the land. Government under priests. The book of Judges. Israel forsaking and returning to God, losing and regaining their position in the land. No king, Bethlehem, failure under priests. The book of Samuel. Man's king rejected. God's king, David, established. The book of Kings. Decline and fall under the kings. The book of Isaiah. Final blessing under God's king. The book of Jeremiah. Human kings rejected. David's righteous branch raised up. The book of Ezekiel. God forsaking Israel and returning in glory to say forever of his land and city, Yahweh Shammah. The book of minor prophets, rather the books of the minor prophets, the Lord of all the earth giving restored possession of the land and foretelling final and unending possession. The Psalms, which is part 3, it's the Kethubim writings. The book of Psalms, Tehillim, praises, God's purposes and counsels as to his doings in the future. The book of Proverbs, i.e. rules, words which govern or rule man's life, God's moral government set forth. The book of Job, the end of the world shown in Satan's defeat and saints' deliverance from tribulation. The book of Canticles, virtue rewarded, read by the Jews at the Passover, the feast which commemorates the deliverance from Pharaoh, the Jews' oppressor. The book of Ruth, the stranger gathered in to hear of and share in God's goodness and redemption, read at Pentecost, which commemorates God's goodness in the land. The book of Lamentations, alas, the record of Israel's woes, read at the feast of the 9th of Abib. The book of Ecclesiastes, the preacher, the people collected to hear of man's vanity, read at the Feast of Tabernacles, which commemorates God's goodness in the wilderness. The book of Esther, virtue rewarded, read at the Feast of Purim, which commemorates the deliverance from Haman, the Jews' enemy. The book of Daniel, God's judgment. Here are shown the final defeat of Antichrist and the deliverance out of the Great Tribulation. The books of Ezra and Nehemiah, men who governed and ruled God's people in their resettlement in the land. And, last but not least, the book of Chronicles, Debrei Hayimim, words of the days, or God's purposes and counsels as to Israel's doings in the past and until the time of the end.